First oral question, Baroness Hayter of Kentish Town.
I beg leave to ask the question standing in my name on the order paper.
My Lords, this government takes road safety seriously. We are committed to reducing the numbers of those killed and injured on our roads. We are considering a range of policies under the new road safety strategy, first for 10 years. This includes the case for changing motor offences such as drink driving. I can assure the House that as part of this we are deeply considering concerns raised by campaigners and bereaved families that my ministerial colleagues have met.
I thank the Minister for that reply, and particularly that the Government is considering changing offences such as drink driving, reflecting concerns raised by bereaved families such as myself, who lost two members of my family this way. A fifth of road deaths, it's about 250 people a year, are killed because of drink and drive. And that is equivalent, basically, to a Boeing 787 crashing every year. Well, I have to say, if one of those did crash every year, we would take that seriously. Even at 50 milligrams, a person is severely impaired, and that's why the police, PACS, everyone has called for a reduction to 50 milligrams, something supported by three-quarters of the public. So could the Minister urge colleagues to take this possibility seriously of saving the equivalent of a plane crash every year on our roads by reducing that level?
My noble friend the Baroness has my deep condolences for her family's loss, and I'm sure that's echoed by your Lordship's House. The Government view is that driving under the influence of drink is unacceptable and illegal. We are determined to combat this behaviour and ensure that all such drivers are caught and punished. We have a combined approach of tough penalties and rigorous enforcement alongside our highly respected and effective Think campaign. This reinforces the social unacceptability of drink driving, reminding people of the serious consequences it has on themselves and others. We will have more to say.
My Lords, is it not the case that the Scottish Government did exactly what the noble Baroness proposes? They then commissioned research that showed that the change made absolutely no difference whatsoever to the accident rate in Scotland.
The noble Lord is certainly right that the Scottish Government changed the limit. I can't confirm his own analysis of the results of it. But of course, in determining a new road safety strategy, the Government will not only take evidence, but look at what's happened as a consequence of different levels. So whatever he thinks the effect of it is, and of course it's a consequence both of penalties and enforcement, the Government will think carefully and act decisively.
My Lords, drug driving as well as drink driving is deadly. So what work is the Government carrying out to look at international developments on roadside detection devices to collect evidence on wider drug misuse whilst driving, such as the inhalation of nitrous oxide?
Noble Baroness has a strong point, and drug driving is as lethal as drink driving. I think the noble Baroness knows that there's been some recent publicity about that particular method of drug driving in London, and I'm very confident that the police, the enforcement authorities, are working their way through that particular episode. The Government is looking carefully at all of the methods of enforcement, including enforcing a variety of driving with different drugs.
Does the Government recognise that young drivers in particular with any alcohol in their bloodstream at all are at greater risk of other dangerous behaviours, not using seat belts and speeding, and that very often in their accidents it's young people or children who are killed or have life-changing injuries? And therefore, actually, we should have a message that if you're drinking, you don't have the car keys.
So the noble Baroness is right, and Think, the flagship road safety campaign, the primary audience for that is young men aged 17 to 24. The campaign targets priority issues such as drink driving and speeding, as well as communicating key policy interventions. There is, of course, a reform of restricting novice drivers through the Road Traffic New Drivers Act 1995, because on acquiring their first full licence, a new driver is on probation for 2 years and subject to a limit of 6 penalty points.
My Lords, the Noble Lord Attlee is perfectly correct that the reduction of the limit in Scotland did not reduce accidents. In fact, at one point, accidents were 7% higher after the law was changed than before, but the researchers who came to that conclusion, the same researchers, suggested that the policy failed because it was not accompanied by sustained high visibility enforcement such as random breath tests. And he argued that the law needed that because otherwise it wouldn't deter what they call high-risk offenders who regularly ignore the limit.
I thank my noble friend for that intervention, and of course enforcement is absolutely necessary. Your Lordship's House know that enforcement is a matter for chief police officers, but it is a matter that they consider very carefully. And of course, it's not difficult to agree with him that rigorous enforcement is entirely needed in these circumstances in order to effectively police any limit.
Oh, I beg your pardon. May I, my Lords, come back to the question of drug driving raised by the noble Baroness Lady Pigeon? Nobody expects there to be a roadside test available for drug driving as effectively as a breathalyzer is for alcohol. But what in particular is the department doing, given that figures from the department show that there are now more deaths from drug driving than from drink driving? What is the department doing in terms of training or other equipment that would assist the police in roadside enforcement, which really, it has been shown, is the most effective way of deterring this activity?
Well, of course, there are a variety of drugs which need to be tested in different ways. The department is very concerned about drug driving and will be looking at it again in the course of the revised road safety strategy. He's right that detection is more difficult because of the variety of drugs, but the department is looking carefully at it because the enforcement effort has to be consistent over drugs and drink.
My Lords, the Road Victims Trust does very important work in terms of supporting those families who are affected by the actions of drink drivers and drugged drivers. It's a charity that relies mostly on public donations. What could the Minister do to encourage police and crime commissioners to support the work of the Road Victims Trust through their grant making?
I thank the Right Reverend Prelate for that question, and the work of that trust is very well regarded. I will go away and consider further what we might do with police commissioners to help support its activities, and I will write to him.
Lords, I'm told that the programme for drug testing on driving is in serious disarray, with many people's samples just not being tested. Has the Minister considered using breath as well as blood tests? And can the Minister look at sorting it out? Because I'm told that there are now thousands of tests outstanding which have not been moved towards prosecution.
I'm not an expert in how you test those things, but I'm disturbed to hear something that I hadn't heard previously, which is the suggestion that that programme's in disarray. I will go away and find out whether or not the government believes it's in disarray, and if it is, what's to be done about it and what will be done about it, and I'll write to the noble lord.
Is the noble lord the Minister aware that in 1998 the Labour government then was minded to make this change and moving from 80 down to 50? We're now the only country in Europe that is still on 80. Everyone else has gone down to 50. The Welsh government have asked and sought permission to introduce the change. Even if we don't do it for England, can we at least let the Welsh do what they want to do?
The reason I said that we would, in my initial answer, that we were deeply considering the concerns raised, was that the opportunity of a new road safety strategy gives just the opportunity to consider whether or not reducing the limit is the right thing to do, which is what we're going to do. And in the process of that, I've heard clearly what many people have said today, and we will go away and reflect and consider, because this is a really important matter.